Hello, I'm Jeremy Nicholas. Welcome to the After Dinner Show. And I'm trying something a little bit new this week. I've got my guests to turn their cameras off so that we've just got photographs of them. And then as I introduce them, I've said, turn your cameras on. There's no guarantee they will do it because they may not have understood the instructions, but hopefully they will turn them on and wave when I say their names. So let's meet the guests. First of all, Rebecca Jones is an enterprise consultant who grows her own veg and used to keep pigs and sheep. Now, hopefully she'll now turn her camera on away. Oh, she's done it. Yay. This is going terribly well. Nathan Littleton is a marketer and speaker and an Aston Villa fan who's really missing football. Hello, Nathan. Yay, look at that. It's working perfectly. I'm loving this new start to the show. And Pam Burrows is a people booster who has 3 cats who bring presents during lockdown. And this is the first time she's seen her real hair color in 20 years. Let's see what the real hair color is as she switched. Oh, there it is. Look at that. It's a sort of a whitey grey color. Hooray. Hello, everyone. Are you all right?
Hello. Good.
Fantastic. So let's just start with Nathan. You said you're an Aston Villa fan who's really missing football. And I was thinking, how long has it been since Aston Villa played proper football? It must be about a year. Is it?
It's probably even longer, to be honest. Yeah, we're in the Championship for a few years, and whether you call that proper football, I'm not entirely sure.
No, but you were winning then, and then you got promoted. And then it's just been a disaster, and you know, well, heaven knows if you're going to get relegated. Let's just keep fingers crossed for all the claret and blue teams, but especially the London ones. And Rebecca, hello. How are you? Where are you joining us from?
Wales, West Wales.
Oh, right. Okay, I was going to say that's
right
not
on the far side of West Wales. Yeah, right on the sea.
On the sea.
Wow.
Right, okay, and you've got lots of swimming certificates on the wall, I see.
Yes. Yes, I got my pedal duck 10 meters.
That's excellent. And Pam, just to take me through your background, that's very lovely, isn't it?
Yes, I grew them all myself in lockdown from seed. Yeah. That's
perfect. Okay, and just check everyone's got a drink. I saw Nathan had what was that? You've got Ribena, is it, Nathan?
Rum and Coke.
Rum and Coke. Okay, we'll come to yours last, Pam, because it's extraordinary. What have you got there, Rebecca?
Just good old-fashioned wine, yeah.
Just West Wales wine. Yeah. Brilliant. www.westwaleswine. And yeah, no, I was making myself laugh. That's quite good, isn't it? West Wales wine. Someone will be now, what do they call it? Getting the domain name of that, won't they?
Well, there is a winery just down the road from me. I think it makes very good wine, in fact.
Does it? Give it a name check then. What is it? Oh, you can't remember. Right. Okay. Well, you're the worst neighbour ever. You know, because you could have told 8 people across the country that are watching this live on YouTube the name of the West Wales winery, www.
Yeah.
But unfortunately couldn't. So Pam, you're holding that up beautifully. Tell me, what is that?
It's some bubbles with some elderflower and a strawberry and some sparkly things for Pride Month and a straw. And it is a plastic straw, but I have had it for 10 years. So hopefully it doesn't cause any ecological disasters.
Well, I don't think it's likely to, is it?
That's it, on just elderflower, that's the concern.
And your straw that we're hoping that's not going to cause a disaster safely in Nottingham, that's where you are tonight.
Yes,
and
indeed.
Nathan, you're in Solihull. Now, I know that's sort of vaguely near Birmingham. Where exactly is Solihull?
Yeah, to quote a comedian that I like, it's either in West Midlands or Warwickshire, depending on whether you're trying to buy or sell your house.
Brilliant. Okay. And which is most prestigious? Warwickshire, is it?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know anything that hasn't got a tube station, so I don't get involved in that sort of business. Now, just before we kick off, I thought I'd do something exciting. Has everyone got a mobile phone that, like the young people carry? Have you all got one of those? Brilliant. Okay. So what I would get you to do is open it at the calculator app. So I don't know if you know what that looks like on your phone, but open it at the calculator app and just type, yes, oh, very good. Yes, they're holding it all up, right, perfect. Calculator app. Now, put in a 3-digit number, any 3-digit number. It might be one that's special to you, but crucially, it needs to be one that you can remember. So anyone watching this can be playing along at home. A 3-digit number. Has everyone got one in? And you'll be able to remember it at the end, because I'll need to say you need to use that number again. Right, okay, you've got that. Now, I want you to type it in again. So you've got a 6-digit number. So, for example, if your number was 123, you'd put 123 and then 123. So it would look like that, 123, 123. Yeah?
Yep.
Everyone done that? Don't show me your number. Don't show me your number. Right, now we're going to try an experiment. It's more statistics than magic, this really. I don't, don't get too excited. It's more statistics. But I want you to divide your number by 7. So the way you do that is you press the divide button, then press the 7 button, and then you press the equals button. You're way ahead of me, aren't you? Okay, that's good. So now, statistically, you would think there's a 1 in 7 chance of that being a whole number, wouldn't you? But I'm going to bet that more of you have got a whole number than a number with a decimal point and then that. So if everyone has done that sum, put your hand up if you've got a whole number. When you divided your... Look at that. All of us got a whole number. How weird is that? Now let's push it even further. I want you to divide that number you've got by 13. By 13, okay? And then we're going to see how many of us get whole numbers again. Okay, so I've done that. Who's got a whole number? I've got a whole number. Has everyone got a whole? So what are the chances that you divide by 7 and then divide by 13 and you'd all get a whole? It's just statistically, we're pushing the boat out here, aren't we? It's getting to Rebecca quite a bit. She's filling up with the emotion of it. Of course, she's from West Wales. She's not used to excitement. So now I want you to divide that number you've got on your phone now by your original 3-digit number. The 3 digits, not the 6, the 3. Okay. Now, what are the chances that that would be a whole number? Put your hands up if you have now got a whole number. Yeah. Okay. Right. And I'm just going to write down what I think that whole number is. And if I've got it right, I want you to go mad with excitement. Okay. I think your number might be 11. Woo! Yay! Brilliant. So that's the trick. Right. Who's excited by that?
I am. I've only left the farm once since lockdown.
Are you on a farm?
Wow.
So
small holding, yeah.
Small holding, right? Yeah, I've heard you've got a small holding. So so you used to have pigs and sheep, but you don't now.
No.
Did you just eat them all?
Yes.
Is that what happened? You just ate them all? Yeah. And now you're the chair of the Professional Speaking Association, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So in a way, still keeping animals. In a way, yeah. I've just had a look. I look very red, don't I? Like I've got blood pressure or something. What's happening with that? Let me just. I might have to get someone to do a story while I sort my redness out because I'm looking
Perhaps
at red.
it's the excitement, Jeremy.
Is it of doing that trick? Right. Do you want to know how that trick works, by the way? Because I can explain it, but it would be a bit like taking away the excitement because it isn't a trick. It's just maths. Shall I do it at the end of the show? At the end of the show, does anyone know how it works?
I don't care.
You don't care, do you? Right. Right. This is the problem with having friends as guests. They just mess about. It's not like, can you imagine if you're on Graham Norton, they'd be in the green room, they'd be going mad with excitement. Go, wow, you've done a brilliant trick. And you're like, yeah, whatever, Jeremy, let's just do our stories and then get off so I can feed those pigs. Oh no, we've killed them all. Right. So let's kick off then with Pam, I think. Pam, yeah. Now you've got a very interesting story about meeting a new girlfriend's family for the first time.
Yes, so it's a while ago now. My present girlfriend. This isn't who that's about. I call her my present girlfriend because she brings me presents, and this was way before then. With a girlfriend that was a little bit odd, and she was kind of a little bit tricky. But we were going to meet her parents. I was meeting them for the first time, and it was a very long drive. And so her parents had done that quite old-fashioned thing, I think, which is when people are coming from a long way away, they made a salad and put cling film on it and put it in the fridge because it's one way of being able to serve somebody a meal immediately on arrival if you really don't know what time they're going to arrive. So it was very sweet, and they were quite old parents. You know, they were quite old when they had their children, and so everything was very, very old fashioned. Anyway, we got to the house, and they were very very polite people, and I felt a little bit awkward because you might not believe this, but I'm quite gregarious. I'm quite noisy, quite bouncy.
No.
And I had to kind of curb myself and be kind of polite and good and make a good impression. And then they introduced me to their cockatiel. And this was brilliant because it's a bit like if somebody's got a baby or a dog, it gives you a focus, you know. So it's kind of easier to chat on. You've got something to chat about. And they said, would you like to hold it? And I thought, well, that's a bit more exciting, you know, because I was a bit bored. And so there I was with this cockatiel, and we had quite a conversation. It was the sweetest little bird, quite small, much smaller than a cockatoo, just for your information. And that was just very lovely. And then her mum got all worried, kind of like, oh, I'm being a bad hostess, I'm so sorry, let's have lunch. And so we went into the kitchen and sat around the table for this cling filmed salad, and you think everything was fine.
Sorry, can I just check? That's the official name of it. If I look up in Delia's book of cooking, the cling filmed salad is.
Yes, the cling filmed salad. And you know that thing when you're meeting somebody for the first time and there's something on your plate that you don't like and you're trying to work out whether you're going to eat it and just swallow it and just be okay with it, or whether you're going to leave it to the side or say, sorry, I'm not a fan of radishes or whatever. You don't upset anybody. So I'm picking through this salad, and it's that kind of lettuce, the lettuce that you can grow in the garden that really isn't very interesting and tastes of soap. And so all of this was going on. So I thought, really, I'm going to need a lot of salad cream on this. So I'd squirted it all over the salad. There wasn't any kind of vinaigrette or anything, darling. And it was a very old-fashioned salad. It wasn't quite cucumbers in vinegar, but it was almost that. And so I was just being really kind of awkward and just trying to not be my full self. And I realized I'd flicked salad cream up the side of my hand. So I thought, oh, do I say kind of just wash my hands or whatever? And I thought, no, I'll just be really, really polite because I'm feeling so kind of buttoned up. But I just quickly, when nobody was looking, went and then carried on eating, and it was all fine. And then I'm eating, I'm thinking, that don't taste right. And it wasn't salad cream. It was cockatiel poop.
Oh no.
So that's my story, and that is why I only now eat mayonnaise, because I can tell when it's mayonnaise. Other brands of mayonnaise are available. So yeah, I'm a fan of mayonnaise now. Salad cream just reminds me of that story and how I very quickly licked my hand and actually ate bird poo.
Oh, that's awful. Story. And you haven't had a cockatiel in your hand since then?
No.
And
I'd had enough by then, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think you've had enough of that sort of thing. And which is the bigger, did you say, the cockatiel or the cockatoo?
The cockatoo.
Cockatoo, right. Oh, that's the clue, because it's twice as big. Yeah, now I saw Rebecca's horrified look about the growing lettuce in the garden. Like, there's one sort you can grow in the garden, and all the other, I don't know where you grow the rest of them.
I think it was just the idea that, that lettuce that somebody grows isn't as nice as the lettuce in the shops, because as you know, I grow all my vegetables, and I thought it was a bit rude because Pam knows I grow my veg, and I thought it was a bit of a dig, really.
I'm sure your lettuce is lovely.
Yeah.
Well, you won't be eating it.
No, but if you did grow your own vegetables, you would need a dig, wouldn't you, to get them up? So that's all work.
Except if I do no dig. But anyway.
But you know what I mean? There's an old-fashioned lettuce that's very dark green leaves, very open. And nowadays you can get more like supermarket lettuces that are more interesting.
Keep digging. Just keep digging.
Keep digging, and digging up the lettuces.
I'm just wondering what that boring garden lettuce is. It a lamb's lettuce you're thinking of?
I don't know. I don't like it.
You mean the open one that's like really soggy and flat?
Yeah, it tastes a bit soapy, very dark green. Yeah, very open leaves.
25p in the supermarket. I mean, that's enough, isn't it, really, for a reason not to buy it?
Do you know what my favourite lettuce is?
You after dinner show quite often a discussion on types of lettuces.
I just want to build up to a punchline and then we'll move on. What's my favourite lettuce?
What's your favourite lettuce, Jeremy?
Little Gem.
Yeah.
Hey, come on. Back of the net. Yeah.
Well, let's move on before we get on to aubergines.
Yes. And apart from during the Brexit debate when I was very keen on Remain.
Oh.
There we are.
Is that because?
What?
Is that because?
Because, yeah. Anyway, anybody got any other lettuce based?
We can't carry on because this is only the tip of the iceberg.
Oh,
fantastic. Right. Let us move on.
It's not rocket salad.
Yeah, okay, that's it. We're done now. Finished out on that. I'm muting Pam. If she does any more lettuce-related humour, she'll be out of here. Let's go on to Nathan, because Nathan, he's our Aston Villa fan. You'll remember he's a marketer. He's a speaker. And you've got a lovely story about an award that you got, Nathan.
Yeah, that's right. So I started my business when I was 12. I'd been running it for a few years. And the culmination of the kind of hard work that I put into the business through my teens was being put forward for an award by the Institute of Directors. Went through the whole process. It was quite a lengthy thing, and ended up winning the award. It was their Junior Director Award, which was great, really, really good. And I was at the awards dinner, and I was sat next to, just by happen chance, sat next to someone who worked for the BBC. And we got talking, and obviously she'd seen that I went up to the stage to go and collect my award, and was asking a few questions about what I actually did. And I told her a few things about what the business was and some of the things that I got up to in my spare time. Fast forward a couple of days, and I get a call to be invited onto BBC WM, and then was getting calls throughout the day to be on other radio stations throughout the day, and then got a call in the evening to be on BBC News. Now, I'm sure you can imagine, at 16 by this point, pretty excited about this, the prospect of going on BBC News. I'm thinking, this could be amazing for the business. Think of all the publicity that I'm going to get. It's going to be incredible. And in the back of my head, I'm also thinking, if I go on BBC News, how am I going to feel going into school the next day? All my friends will have watched it. All the teachers will have watched it. I will be the talk of the school. So the evening comes, I'm sat around the TV with my family. We're getting ready to watch my special appearance on BBC News after the whole day had been spent in interviews with the TV crew. They'd come into my school, they were interviewing my friends, all this good stuff. So we all sit around the sofa and we're getting ready to watch the appearance. And within 2 seconds, they get my name wrong.
No.
Completely wrong. So my name is Nathan Littleton. They call me Nathan Little John, which, to be honest, has been an affliction throughout my life, really. I quite often get called different variations of my name. You just don't expect it to be at the point where you're most proud of as a culmination of all your achievements, really. And to make it worse, not only did they get my name wrong, they also got all the details completely wrong about what it was that I did. It seemed like it had all come from this conversation that I'd had at the awards dinner and had been blown into something that was completely different to what I actually did.
Ridiculous. Well, on behalf of the BBC, I can only apologise. Sorry, Rebecca.
I said that was really disappointing for you.
Yeah. So I remember my dad worked all of his career for Boots the chemist as a pharmacist. And he came home one day and he'd got the gold watch for however many years of service. And then they mentioned it in Boots News, the magazine, the staff magazine, and it congratulated Brian Nicholas on 30 years of service. But my dad's called Bernie, and they called him Brian, and he came in and just threw it down on the table and went, 30 years I've worked for them. They think I'm called Brian. And we were told as children that we had to give Dad a bit of space. Actually, that can't be right, because why wouldn't we be children if he'd worked there 30 years? That story needs a bit of research. But anyway, something went wrong. Something went wrong with the thing. I know that. I know it wasn't.
He was a young pharmacist, was he?
He could have been, yeah. See, I always thought that he helped out on a farm as a kid, because all my uncles were farmers, and I knew he was a pharmacist. And
That's really sweet.
Yeah, and when I wrote my autobiography about I say autobiography, it was just a book about being the stadium announcer at West Ham. I've made it sound grander than it is. And I put in that line about, I thought my dad helped out on a farm because he was a pharmacist. And the editor, when she sent back the thing, she changed pharmacist to pharmacologist. And I said, why have you done that? And she said, well, because it's a more correct title for his job. And I said, no, it isn't. He was a pharmacist, not a pharmacologist. That's more studying it. And I said, and besides, it doesn't work with the joke, does it? Pharmacist. She went, what joke? So anyway, that was, I didn't really get on with her. She didn't spot any of the stuff that was going on. Anyway, who hasn't done a story? Now, let me see. We've had Pam, we've had Nathan. It must be Rebecca. And you've got...
I'm regretting my story.
You're regretting your story? Why? Is it a bit dodgy? Do you want to change your story? Do you want me to do another magic trick to give you time to think up another story?
No, it's fine. No, I've promised now.
Right. So get your phone out. So, no. Okay. Right. Go on, Rebecca. This is a story about a very early job you had in your career. Yes.
Let's bear that in mind. I was quite young. Okay. So I took a summer job as an entertainment rep for a holiday company in Spain, and I worked in Benidorm. And much to my mum's horror, I was a rep in Benidorm, and part of my job was to do that company's equivalent of Club 1830. And so this is one of my first speaking gigs. Basically, I used to stand on the stage and do the evening entertainments. And one of the jobs was to go to the airport to collect people from the airport and transfer them to the hotels. And it was always a bit of a dibs thing as to which, flights you got. But I always had Friday night, the Glasgow flight. That was my last flight of a Friday. So on a Friday, I would have gone to the airport 4 times. And that was my last one. I used to land about 11:30 at night. So you can imagine they'd had a few drinks usually by the time they'd arrived. Got to the airport, dropped off my guests for the outward bound flight, waiting for the inbound flight to be told it's delayed. Hasn't even left Glasgow yet. You might as well go and have a drink. So myself and some of the other reps and the bus drivers went to the only bar that was open on that side of the airport and had a few drinks. And the flight was later and later and later. And eventually we were told, flight's landed, they're just coming in now and it'll be fine. As the flight lands, we go to collect the manifest. So I know who I'm collecting and who's coming on my coach. And I thought, that's a very odd manifest. They're all men and they're all on their own. They don't seem to be traveling together. And then I realized, oh no, they are all traveling together. They're all from the same rugby club. So I eventually get to these very merry Glaswegian rugby players onto the coach. But unfortunately, by that time, I'd had more than the odd glass of Chardonnay, shall we say. And my normal spiel on the bus, so I had a set patter that as we left the car park of the airport, I would always say to everyone, welcome to Spain, blah, 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 and any problems, any questions at all, just say, and what I'll do is I'm going to walk up and down the coach, and if you need me for anything, just, tap me and let me know. And normally, of course, families, etc., that was fine. Except for, of course, on this occasion, what I hadn't realised was A, I was drunk, and B, all of my rugby playing guys on the coach were also drunk. So I stood at the front of the coach with my microphone going, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk up and down the coach, and if anyone wants me, just grab me.
Not a good thing to say.
And the poor coach driver just said to me, you sit down, don't move. And now I'm a professional speaker.
Yeah, and you were lucky to get out of that alive. Well done.
Yeah, I could tell you a lot worse stories of being a holiday rep.
Yeah, but I mean, coming from Wales, you won't be used to drunken rugby players, will you? So that that would have been a shock for you.
I think I was all right.
Yeah. Excellent.
It wasn't that funny then, obviously, Jeremy, was it?
No, it's a cracking story.
Oh, okay.
I like the line about just grab me, and then the man. I just think it needs just something at the end, maybe.
Sorry. All right, we'll work on that one.
We'll just need. Yeah, we need to.
I don't normally do comedy.
It doesn't have to be funny. It was a lovely true story about the early development of a flowering young businesswoman who's gone on to dominate most of the West Wales market and achieve greatness in the Professional Speaking Association. So don't give yourself a hard. I tell you why you're giving yourself a hard time. It's because there's not an audience. You see, we all struggle with Zoom. We do. We struggle because there's no feedback. There's no
Is that how it works?
Yeah, this is happening. I've got a lot of friends that are comedians, and they're all saying it's an absolute nightmare because you don't hear the audience laugh. Now, for me, it's no different. It's just like a regular gig for me. It's just silence. I'll say something. It's just silence. Pam looks up from her drink, realizes Jeremy may have said something funny, and then instantly goes back to the drink. Now, a couple of words I've written down here that people have used tonight that I'm not really used to hearing. First of all, Nathan, you used happen chance. That's a very old worldly thing for someone who was 16.
I'm trying to create new words. It's my 2020 lockdown. People are trying to achieve a new skill in lockdown. Mine's the invention of new words just to get them into the lexicon.
Well, I don't think it's a new word. Is it happen chance? But I think it's
a very old one.
Yeah.
Isn't it like
he's too young to know?
Isn't it a mixture of like two words?
No, I think it's a bit Shakespearean.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll take that.
I would say Shakespeare or Chaucer or something. It's a portmanteau, isn't it? That's what you're struggling for when you join two words together.
I'm going to call it Littletonian now. That's what it is. It's not Shakespearean. It's Littletonian.
Yeah. Oh, hang on. I'm just hearing from the BBC. They've already named it Little Johnian. So, yeah. No, but happen chance is definitely a word. And then manifest. Rebecca was saying we've got to pick up the manifest. Now, I was thinking that isn't that part of your exhaust pipe, but is that manifold? Is it? Yeah.
Did I get you wrong?
No. I think manifest probably is right, but I've never.
No. Yeah. No, it's the manifest. It's like the list of people getting on and off the plane. Yeah. Don't. You made me question myself.
I don't know. I love words. And so is it there's like the same route as like manifesto when it's a list of things you're going to do, but manifest is a list of things, is it? Or people?
List of people that have definitely got on the plane, so definitely should get off.
Yeah, perfect. Do you want to hear a quick story about me and an award? Nathan, you said about getting an award. So
But
it was
you didn't choose a word I'd said, Jeremy.
well, we talked a lot about the difference between cockatiels and cockatoos, didn't we?
Yeah, fair enough.
And I didn't do my cockatoo joke because I knew my mum would be watching.
Yeah, good. Okay. Anyway, let's hear from Jeremy.
Thank you very much. So the trouble with having lots of professional speakers on, everyone wants to be the moderator. Yes, okay. So how do you feel about that? So what's your feedback on that? So I'm just going to do a quick story about an award show. So it was at the Grosvenor House Hotel on Park Lane, big, massive one, 800-seater ballroom tables, and it's the Sony Radio Awards. And I'm up for Best Breakfast Show with my breakfast show on BBC London, which was called GLR, Greater London Radio, in those days. Now, the problem with our breakfast show is that it was half speech and half music. And the two categories were Best Speech Breakfast Show and Best Music Breakfast Show. And we were halfway in between. So we'd entered the speech one because we thought we'd have a better chance of doing something in that. And we got nominated and we got into the last four. And it was between us, BBC Radio 4's Today programme, 5 Live Breakfast Show, and Talk Radio's Big Boys Breakfast, as it was called then, which was just two big blokes arguing. And we were the first award on after the break, and during the first half we thought we've got no chance of getting it. We're the only local radio station here, everything else is national. But then during the interval, people kept coming up and saying, "Oh, we've heard you've won, well done, congratulations." And we had no speech prepared, and to be honest, a few of us had taken a drink, and to be honest, I'd had the least of everyone, so it was decided that I would make the speech rather than the producer or my co-presenter. And so I thought, so I quickly, and I've still got the little speech somewhere. I kept it, and I just made sort of points like that. This is before I was a proper speaker. I was just a broadcaster. And so I wrote the stuff down and was all ready to do it. And then they said, and the bronze award goes to, so you got bronze, silver, and gold. The bronze award goes to BBC GLR. And we thought, oh, we didn't win. At least we didn't come fourth, but we didn't win. So we all just went, oh. And the collective sigh that we all let out accidentally knocked over a Japanese lantern that was in the middle of the table, one of those very lightweight one that caught fire, and then it floated up into the very high ceiling of the ballroom, and it looked like we were protesting against the result. So lovely story there.
You needed a little something on the end of that, I think.
Just needs a bit of a tweak, didn't it, at the end? Yeah.
There was no punchline as such, but it was good. It was a good story.
Well, we give as good as we take, Jim.
We love you.
I know, but it's on Graham Norton. You don't get people with clipboards going, right, yes, well, we'll take you through what was wrong with that. They just all laugh and the audience clap. But it's the trouble with Zoom, isn't it? Oh, you've got a clipboard. Who's got a clipboard? Why would you have a clipboard there?
I've got my stories on it.
Oh, right, okay. And it all matches your background and everything? Everything's very coordinated.
Yeah, cool. In fact, I've even got a pink pen, look.
Right, so usually I like to finish in 30 minutes, but we can go to Nathan for an emergency short story, because I know you've got a story about being on an aeroplane, Nathan. Can you quickly tell us that?
Yeah, that's right. So I used to be with someone who was half Kyrgyz, half Russian. She was from Kyrgyzstan, which I'll be honest, before I'd met her, I wasn't even aware was a country. But it turns out it's a wonderful place. She'd gone there to visit her parents for a few weeks, and I decided to go out and visit her as well. So after an 11-hour flight with I think a 6-hour stopover in Istanbul, the plane comes in and we're about to come off. And just as I'm coming out of the doors of the plane, a soldier grabs me by the arm. And as he grabs me, I turn around and I look, and I can see he's got a photo of me in his hand. So of course now I'm wondering, what have I done? Have I left my case somewhere? Has it got lost at Istanbul and someone's put something in it? Have they mistaken me for someone else? Well, no, that's my picture. Surely they can't have mistaken me for someone else. So we're walking through to the airport, and I'm being frog marched into what is clearly like a private door away from all the other passengers. And I'm thinking, I've only got one Russian phrase that I know, and that is Vigoreczia Polangliski, which I'm sure the pronunciation there was just as terrible as it is today, but can you guess what that would be?
2 beers?
No. That's the second phrase that I learned afterwards. No, it's do you speak English? And I got a very firm niet. So now I'm really scared. And I get marched into this room. Another soldier comes in and asks me for my passport in quite broken English. And this is in Bishkek in Kyrgyzstan, which is a city that is quite small in relative terms. There is a US Air Force base right next to it. All in all, in the middle of the night coming into this airport, I'm pretty scared. So I get my passport taken off me and then it's handed back. And then all of a sudden, it's like the whole thing has changed. Everyone's really nice. I get my passport handed back to me. I get food and drink given to me. I get my suitcase brought to me and I get taken to the front entrance to meet the people that I was meeting. What I found out was that my girlfriend at the time had told them that I was a diplomat. And the reason I'd been frog marched off the airplane and taken through a private exit was actually for really good reasons. They were giving me the diplomatic treatment, despite the fact I didn't have a diplomatic passport. So it turned out to be a very, very friendly place. And the thing is, when you get that kind of treatment, I think it changes you. So I went the year afterwards, and just as I was coming off the plane, I'm thinking, where's that friendly soldier come to greet me again? And of course, there wasn't there. But yeah, it turns out it's a really nice place with really friendly people. I'd just been a typical Brit, didn't know any Russian whatsoever, and assumed that everyone was big and mean.
Why did she say you were a diplomat, though?
So that I'd get some special treatment. I think she knew someone that worked for the airport and said, oh yeah, he's a very important person. I think she might have said he's a very important person and they just assumed I was a diplomat.
Yeah. Well, she sounds nuts. So, I mean, you're well shot of her, aren't you? And I noticed during that there was another word. I'm not sure if you made it up. I wrote it down. Bishket. Is that a proper thing?
It's a biscuit in Welsh.
Is it?
Bishkek. It's the capital of Kyrgyzstan.
Is it a capital?
Yeah.
What is it? Kyrgyzstan.
Kyrgyzstan. Yeah, I had trouble with it as well.
Yeah. And what is the Welsh for biscuit, Rebecca?
Biscuit.
Biscuit. But if you've had a drink from your West Wales winery, whose name we don't know, then it's Bishket.
Biscuit.
Yeah.
That's just biscuit in a Welsh accent.
No, it's biscuit. It's got an ED on the end. Biscuit.
Oh.
Biscuit. What is your favourite Welsh word of all time?
They're usually the rude words, aren't they? They're always the best.
Well, I don't say one of those, but
Well,
people.
I know, but you asked me off pat, and I'm like,
yeah, but this, you know, the chair of the Professional Speaking Association should be able to cope with anything that gets thrown.
right,
at
okay.
them. Yeah. So, because they always say about the word for microwaves, poppity ping. Is that
No,
just?
it's not.
Is that just a made-up
It's
story?
called it's a microdon, but in certain areas they call it a poppy ping, but that's not correct. It's microdon. Sorry.
Right. See, microdon. That to me, that just sounds like a very small gangster.
Well, it means a micro oven, which is what yours is, no?
Yeah, and we have all of those.
Yeah, well, there you go. Yeah, no, there's all sorts of words that are really nice because, you know, I did a BBC interview in Welsh yesterday, so, and I had to think what Facebook shop was in Welsh, so I just said it was a Facebook shop.
Yeah. Can you do that? If there's words you don't know, just say an English
just
word
say
but
it
in a
in
slight
English.
accent.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. I once went to Johannesburg airport because my wife's South African, and the first time I went, she had a South African passport. I had my British passport, so I went in a different queue. And then she said, "Oh no, come with me because the queue's shorter." And I said, "But I'm not South African." And the man on the desk was really nice, and he said, "No, every time you come, you must just come to the South African desk because if you're married to a South African, you can come in this way." So I thought, oh, that's nice, isn't it? I could do that. But then one time I went, she wasn't with me, and I went up and they went, "What are you doing in this queue? That's a British passport." I went, "Yeah, but my wife's South African." "Well, where is she?" So all I can assume is it might have been a different man on the desk. It was about 4 years later, and I think it was Cape Town instead of Johannesburg. So it could easily have been a different person. You don't know. Right, we're out of time, but everyone gets a little chance to probably a good thing. A little chance to plug themselves just in case lockdown ever finishes and we get a chance to speak again to the wide world, or even, you know, if like me, you're doing desperate things on Zoom you want to give a plug to. So let's go Nathan first. Nathan, how do people get in touch with you? What do you speak about? Have a plug.
I speak about email marketing primarily and credibility marketing, and you can find me at nathanlittleton.co.uk.
If anyone ever gets my newsletter, which comes out every Wednesday morning and is widely regarded as one of the top ones in the speaking world, Nathan puts it together for me. Obviously, I write it because otherwise he'd just be making up words. Pam, have a plug.
So I'm Pam Burrows, the People Booster. So if you put those 4 words into Google, you'll find me on all social media and a website and lots of YouTube, because I help people reduce stress and I go into organizations and help them with stress management. So if you find me on YouTube, there's loads of free resources to help you switch off your lockdown crazy head and get better sleep.
When I've been watching telly recently, I've been feeling a sort of pressure here. But it was actually just my dog likes to climb on the back and just rest on that. Rebecca, have a plug.
Yeah, so I'm Rebecca. So my main website is rebeccajones.biz, and I have another business which is stretchythinking.com, and I talk about being more stretchy in the way you think. And that's why I've got the stretchy yellow person, and changing the way you think about innovation and enterprise within organizations. I work with staff in organizations to be more enterprising and innovative through stretchy thinking.
Fantastic. So it's either yellow stretchy people or red shoes. It's either one or the other. You always like to have a colour.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
I still wear the red shoes, but that's just choice, isn't it?
Is it? Right, yeah. No, I always think, because the first time I met you were the red shoe businesswoman. Do you not call yourself that anymore?
A bit, but
a little bit, yeah.
But most people know me for the stretchy thinking.
For the yellow stretchy things.
Because it's on every book that I've written, so it's
yeah. Fantastic. Right, just before we go, I know you're all desperate to know, how did that trick work, Jeremy? So I'll tell you how that works, because it's not a trick really, it's just maths. So you start off by doing your number. So supposing your number was 1, 2, 3, and then you put down 1, 2, 3 again. So it's 123,123. Now, when you divide that by 7 and then divide it by 13 and then divide it by itself, you're always going to end up, any number you do is always going to bring you back to 11. And that's Pam, you're very, very noisy when I'm coming to the exciting bit of the science here. Okay, you're like a naughty child in a chemistry. It was perfectly timed, wasn't it? It was a perfectly timed, and now there's a strawberry coming up. Right. Because 7 times 30, I'm going to keep I don't care how long, it's your own time you're wasting. 7 times 13 times 11 gives you 1,001. 7 times 13 times 11 gives you 1,001. And any 3-digit number multiplied by 1,001 will give you 1,000 of that number and 1 of that number. So that's how it works. So
when you asked about whether it was a whole number, was it always going to be a whole number? Or
always, yeah. Because the factors of that number are always going to include 7, 13, 11. So any kind of dividing will always end up with that. But on the last one, we didn't divide by 11. We divided by the number we originally thought of, and it gave you 11. For me, I love maths and stuff. But for you, I know you're all hating that, and you're just
true. No, Nathan's really enjoyed it. And,
no, it's instantly forgettable. I've forgotten it already.
Well, it's not as good, obviously, as mayonnaise, but it's the best I could do. So your homework is to go away and find out the name of that West Wales winery. Find out, when is Aston Villa's first game, Nathan?
It's a week today, 17th of June.
Oh, they're playing a relegation rival, aren't they?
Well, Sheffield United, so they're actually way up, but they did come
up. Right, yeah, no, they're like top 6, aren't they? I don't know where I got that from. I knew that some of the small teams were playing each other, and I just assumed one of them was Aston Villa. Yeah. And Pam, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. I had an excuse to shave my legs.
Well, although they didn't really feature as much as we were all expecting them to.
What winery do you want to know?
What's it called?
It's called Llaeth Flew.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, yes. I would say spell it out, but I'm sure we all know how to spell that.
Llaeth Flew. Yes. 2 L's AETHLIW.co.uk.
Brilliant. Okay.
Very nice wine, but there you go.
Yeah. Okay, we have to leave it there. We're going to say goodbye to the people on YouTube, and if you guys just stay there, and I'll say goodbye to you individually on Zoom, and we'll just sort out your fees and everything. So thank you very much. Say goodbye to everyone. Bye bye. Oh, marvelous. Thank you so much for joining me. Good night.